Welcome to ARCHZ History Channel, where we explore the hidden stories of our past. In the heart of the Pacific Ocean lies a chain of islands born from both beauty and destruction. The Philippines, a nation of over 7,000 islands, a land where paradise and peril coexist. For millions of years, unseen beneath these turquoise waters, titanic forces have shaped this land, carving mountains, birthing volcanoes, and shaking civilizations to their core. Today we uncover the history of the earthquakes that have struck the Philippines, from ancient times to the present, to understand how they happen, why they happen, and how people can predict and prevent their deadly impact. To understand earthquakes, we must first look beneath our feet. The Earth's crust is not one solid shell. It's broken into massive sections called tectonic plates. The Philippines sits on one of the most dangerous regions in the world, the Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone where several of these plates collide, grind, and dive beneath one another. When these plates move suddenly, energy is released in the form of seismic waves. And that's what we feel as an earthquake. Two main plates dominate the Philippines: the Philippine Sea Plate, moving westward, and the Eurasian Plate, pushing eastward. Their endless collision built the country's mountains and fuels its frequent seismic activity. The Philippines experiences an average of 20 earthquakes every day, most too weak to feel. But throughout its history, some have been powerful enough to change landscapes, erase cities, and rewrite history. Long before humans walked these islands, the earth trembled. The ancient land that would become the Philippines was shaped by subduction zones, places where one tectonic plate sinks beneath another. Over millions of years, this process lifted parts of the ocean floor, forming the mountains of Luzon, the ridges of Mindanao, and the volcanoes of the Visayas. It was this constant movement, this endless shifting, that created a nation resting atop a living, moving world. The first settlers, arriving thousands of years ago, might not have understood the science, but they felt the Earth's power. For them, earthquakes were acts of the gods. In ancient Visayan mythology, the god Kaptan, ruler of the sky, was said to shake the earth when angry. In Tagalog lore, Bathala himself commanded nature's fury to remind humanity of humility. To our ancestors, earthquakes were not natural. They were supernatural. But as centuries passed, these legends would turn into history as earthquakes became part of the Filipino story. The Spanish arrived in the 1500s, bringing not only their religion and empire, but also their architecture, stone churches, forts, and cathedrals. But stone, though majestic, does not bend with the earth. One of the earliest recorded major earthquakes struck Manila in 1645, remembered as the Linao, or Great Earthquake. With an estimated magnitude of 7.5, it destroyed most of Intramuros, the walled city of Manila, and claimed thousands of lives. This disaster marked the start of the Philippines' recorded seismic history. Then came 1863, the most destructive earthquake of the Spanish era. At that time, Manila was a city of grandeur, ornate cathedrals, government halls, and European-style mansions. But on June 3, 1863, at around 7 p.m., the ground began to move violently. In less than a minute, the Manila Cathedral was reduced to ruins. Over 600 people died, and thousands were injured. This was one of the first times scientists began to question, why here? Why so often? The answer lies beneath, in a web of fault lines crisscrossing the islands. The most famous of these is the West Valley Fault, slicing directly under Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Other major faults include the Philippine Fault Line, stretching more than 1,200 kilometers from northern Luzon down to Mindanao, one of the longest active faults in the world. Each of these faults stores massive tension underground, waiting for the moment to release it. The dawn of the 20th century brought new tools, seismographs, instruments that record ground motion. For the first time, scientists could measure the strength of quakes in numbers, magnitude, and their effect, called intensity. With science, the mystery began to unfold, yet nature's power only grew clearer. August 2, 1968, the Casiguran earthquake. It struck with a magnitude of 7.3, centered in Aurora province. But its impact devastated Manila, nearly 200 kilometers away. The Ruby Tower, a 6-story building in Binondo, collapsed completely. More than 260 lives were lost. This tragedy led to stricter building codes and new awareness of urban earthquake risks. Through the decades, the Earth never stopped moving. The 1976 Mindanao earthquake triggered a massive tsunami, killing over 8,000 people across Mindanao and Sulu. The 1990 Luzon earthquake, magnitude 7.8, leveled Baguio City and split highways in Pangasinan and Nueva Ecija. In 2013, a 7.2 magnitude quake struck Bohol, toppling centuries-old churches. And in 2023, Davao del Sur was shaken once more, a reminder that the cycle continues. But the story of earthquakes is not just destruction, it's also about resilience, science, and preparation. Over time, Filipinos learned not just to endure, but to understand. Modern science, through institutions like PHIVOLCS, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, now monitors the country 24/7. They use satellites, GPS sensors, and deep ground instruments to detect even the smallest movements. They map hazard zones, forecast aftershocks, and issue early warnings, saving countless lives. Yet despite all technology, the most powerful tool remains knowledge. To prevent disaster, people must know the signs. Before a major quake, animals may act strangely. Dogs bark continuously, birds fly in panic. You might hear a deep rumbling sound, like a passing train beneath the earth. Then, the shaking begins. During a quake, drop, cover, and hold, the universal safety rule, can mean the difference between life and death. Afterwards, stay alert for aftershocks, smaller quakes that follow the main event. Education saves lives. Each year, the Philippines holds a national earthquake drill, teaching citizens how to respond when the ground shakes. Schools, offices, and communities prepare go bags, evacuation plans, and emergency kits. Through awareness and unity, the nation strengthens its shield against disaster. Technology also plays a role. Modern buildings are designed with base isolators and reinforced steel, allowing them to sway without collapsing. This is how Japan, and now the Philippines, are engineering for survival, turning knowledge into safety. But prevention isn't just science, it's also culture. From the prayers of our ancestors to the drills of today, the Filipino spirit always endures. For every city rebuilt, every family that rises again, there is proof that no earthquake can break the heart of this nation. As the earth continues its silent motion beneath, the Philippines stands as one of the world's most seismically active nations. Each island rests upon a complex network of faults, each with its own story, each capable of rewriting the nation's history in a single trembling moment. Let us now dive deeper into the science of the shaking world to understand not only what causes earthquakes, but how humanity strives to predict them, to prepare, and to survive. When two plates collide, one may slide beneath the other. This process, called subduction, creates deep ocean trenches, like the Philippine Trench, one of the deepest places on Earth, plunging nearly 10,000 meters below sea level. At these depths, unimaginable pressure builds. Rocks bend, twist, and finally, snap. The sudden release of this built-up energy sends seismic waves racing outward through the Earth's crust. When they reach the surface, the world shakes. There are two main types of seismic waves. P waves, or primary waves, travel the fastest, compressing and expanding the ground, much like sound through air. Then come the S waves, or secondary waves, moving side to side, creating the violent shaking that topples buildings. Together, these waves create the terrifying symphony of an earthquake. But the Earth does not warn us loudly. It whispers first. Sometimes before a major quake, subtle signs appear. Tiny tremors, small cracks in the ground, unusual animal behavior, or faint sounds from deep below. Scientists call these foreshocks, small earthquakes that occur before the main event. They may come minutes, hours, or even days before the major quake, but not always. And this unpredictability is what makes earthquakes both fascinating and feared. Inside PHIVOLCS, a team of experts watches the Earth every second. More than 100 seismic stations across the country detect and transmit signals instantly. When tremors occur, they can triangulate the source, determining the epicenter, magnitude, and depth of the quake. Through this network, the Philippines is better equipped than ever before to respond quickly to danger. Not all quakes are equal. Scientists use the moment magnitude scale, replacing the old Richter scale, to measure the energy released. A magnitude 4 quake may rattle your dishes. A magnitude 6 can crack walls. A magnitude 7 or above. That's when destruction begins. But what people feel depends also on depth. A deep quake may pass unnoticed, while a shallow one, even moderate, can cause chaos. Every second counts when the ground begins to move. But perhaps the most closely watched threat today is the West Valley Fault, a silent scar running under some of the Philippines' most populated cities. From Bulacan to Laguna, It passes beneath Quezon City, Taguig, and Muntinlupa, home to millions. Scientists warn that this fault moves roughly every 400 years. Its last major rupture? Sometime in the 1600s. That means the clock may be ticking. If it slips again, the resulting quake could reach magnitude 7.2, affecting Metro Manila directly. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology calls this hypothetical event the Big One. In a simulation by scientists, a 7.2 magnitude quake could kill tens of thousands and displace millions. Power, water, and communication could be cut off for days. But such devastation is not destiny. It's a warning. Through awareness, strict building codes, and community drills, the Big One can be survived. Each fault line has its own rhythm, a geological heartbeat measured in centuries. By studying past quakes, scientists can estimate the recurrence interval, the average time between major events. For example, the West Valley Fault has moved roughly every 400 years. This timeline, combined with strain measurements, helps determine which regions are locked and which are slipping. When strain builds up, a rupture becomes inevitable. But the exact moment, the day or hour, remains a mystery the Earth keeps for itself. To listen to the planet, scientists use seismic arrays, vast networks of underground sensors that record vibrations even smaller than a human hair. Every tremor, no matter how small, adds to a larger story. A story written not in ink, but in motion. Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology and partner organizations now use real-time seismic monitoring, early warning systems, and mobile alerts. When a major quake is detected, the system automatically sends notifications, sometimes seconds before shaking reaches a city. It may not sound like much, but even 10 seconds can mean the difference between safety and tragedy. Elevators stop, gas lines shut, people move to cover. That's technology buying time. Across the Philippines, new systems like DEWS, Disaster Early Warning System, are being developed. These systems combine seismometers, tsunami sensors, and satellite links to warn coastal communities. Because when the shaking begins beneath the sea, it can give rise to a tsunami, a wall of water that travels at hundreds of kilometers per hour. In 1976, such a wave struck the Moro Gulf, taking more than 8,000 lives in minutes. Entire coastal villages vanished beneath the surge. From that tragedy came the lessons of sea level monitoring and evacuation routes, knowledge paid for in loss. Today, sensors guard the coasts, watching the deep for the first signs of the next wave. Even today, the ground beneath the Philippines continues to move. The story of earthquakes is not one buried in ancient history. It unfolds now as we speak. Let us turn from the lessons of the past to the tremors of our present. On the night of September 30th, 2025, the central Philippines was rocked by a magnitude 6.9 earthquake. Its epicenter offshore, northeast of Bogo City, Cebu. This was one of the most powerful events to strike the Visayas in recent memory. The quake's source was later linked to a newly characterized fault, the Bogo Bay Fault, a structure previously unknown to seismologists. Dozens were killed, hundreds injured, and thousands displaced. The quake was shallow, only 5 kilometers deep, amplifying surface shaking. Within hours, over 1,000 aftershocks were recorded. like echoes of the Earth's grief. Rescue teams work through darkness, while scientists at Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology map the fault, realizing this was not just another tremor, but a chapter in a much larger tectonic story. Just days later, the mountainous north felt its own tremor. On October 9, 2025, at 10:30 a.m., a magnitude 4.4 quake struck near Pugo, La Union, at a depth of about 23 kilometers. Intensity 4 shaking was reported in Pugo, Tubao, and Baguio City, strong enough to rattle windows and send people outdoors. Though no major damage occurred, schools suspended classes and offices paused work as a precaution. The La Union quake served as a reminder, even moderate earthquakes can disrupt daily life, test preparedness, and spark fear. PHIVOLCS confirmed no aftershocks were expected, but the event renewed public attention to the northern Luzon fault system, long known for its historical activity. Barely a day later, on October 10th, the South was struck by twin forces, a doublet earthquake sequence off the coast of Manay, Davao Oriental. The first tremor registered magnitude 7.4, followed hours later by another around 6.8, each with distinct epicenters. Tsunami warnings were issued across Mindanao and parts of Indonesia. Residents along the coast evacuated swiftly. Though only minor sea level changes occurred, the fear was real. At least 7 lives were lost, with multiple landslides and damage to homes and bridges. This was the strongest quake to strike Mindanao in years, an unmistakable sign of the region's active subduction zones. 3 quakes, 3 different regions, 3 distinct lessons. 1. The Cebu earthquake revealed an undocumented fault, proof that not all hazards are yet known. 2. The La Union earthquake reminded us that even moderate tremors can cause disruption. Preparedness matters everywhere. 3. The Davao doublet demonstrated that multiple large quakes can strike in rapid succession, testing both technology and resilience. Together, they paint a living picture of a nation atop restless ground, yet standing strong. These recent events are not isolated tragedies. They are warnings. Each tremor is nature whispering, "Be ready, stay aware, keep learning." And so the story continues, not in history books, but in today's headlines. Each movement below reminds us that the earth beneath the Philippines is alive, and that understanding is our strongest defense. We live upon a living world, and though the ground beneath us moves, our hearts remain steady. The earthquakes of the past have written pain, but also progress. The tremors of today bring knowledge and unity, and the quakes of the future, they will bring not just shaking, but understanding. For every movement of the earth is a reminder that life itself is fragile and yet unbreakable. The story of the Philippine earthquake is not just one of geological forces, it's a story of faith, unity, and rebirth. After every disaster, people rise, rebuilding homes, schools, and dreams. They plant again, they pray again, they live again. Because resilience is not just the strength to endure, it's the courage to hope. The earth has spoken countless times before. Every tremor, every rumble beneath our feet is not just destruction, it's a message. A reminder that we are only guests upon this moving ground, from the deadly quakes of the past to the silent tremors that still whisper today. one truth remains: preparedness saves lives. Awareness builds strength, and unity keeps us standing when the ground can't. So wherever you are, check your surroundings. Know your evacuation route. Prepare an emergency kit. Teach your family the signs. And most important weapon is to pray to our Lord. Because the next time the earth moves, it's not just about survival. It's about being ready to rise again. Every quake reminds us how fragile life can be, but also how powerful unity is. Don't wait for the next disaster to wake us. Act now, prepare, and help protect the Philippines from what comes next. And don't forget to share this video and like and subscribe.